So, Jets fans, as promised, this evening we're joined by club head coach and Jets head coach Lukas, who's here to answer the questions that you put to him on the Facebook page over the last coming weeks. Smith, thanks for coming down. Appreciate your time, mate.
No problem at all.
Let's go straight in with the first question. What is the goal of the team this season now that the league is more competitive?
Goal isn't different than last year. Last year we wanted to make the playoffs, and obviously we ended up winning the league. We are aware that there's a lot of teams who's going to be playing really good hockey, but it shouldn't stop our vision. It shouldn't stop our development plan in terms of season on season. But whether we won the league last year or not, our aim is to make a playoffs and play the right hockey, play the right way, play the way we enjoyed it last year. And I think it's important, especially on the budget we're working, which is pretty much nothing. So it's it's gonna be great competition for all boys, and I think we're gonna go from there to having big goals and saying we want to finish top 2, top 3. It's not the right thing to say, really. You know, we're gonna be playing a lot of youth again, and see how it goes, see how we're gonna grow as a team throughout the season.
Perfect. So touching on last season, what was your most memorable moment last season?
To look at players' faces, really. You know, it's not about results, it's about what we've done, how much we enjoyed it, how much we wanted it, how much we bought into things, how much we played for each other, and results came. You know, there's been up and downs. There's been some games we struggled, and we got lucky that we won. But there's been also games where we were absolutely outstanding, and we played brilliant game. But everything goes to that we've done it together. It was the mindset we had. It was just brilliant. And I must say, it was my first time in my coaching career such a thing happened, that every single player was switched on and supportive. Even the guys who didn't play or played not as much, they were all in it. They were with us in it, and I think was most important, because that's what grew. We grew in confidence. We wanted more, you know. So towards the end, it was a little bit, obviously, we got a little bit nervous because we started realizing what we're playing for. But we just kept going. It was whole season was pretty much highlight.
Perfect, good answer. So, next question. Last season we did so well, we being the Slough Jets did so well in the league, but we didn't do so well in the playoffs. Why do you think that was?
It's one game. Obviously, I'm not gonna say we were missing guys out of lineups. I don't believe in that stuff. You know, we play as a team. We had four lines. So the players who didn't play, we replaced them with the players who played. I thought we played one game too many. That's one thing. And second thing, I think I mentioned that earlier, right after the season, we played against the team. They were outstanding. Champs were played outstanding game, even though we were 3-0 up. We caught them sleeping really, but we just couldn't maintain. Whether it was nerves, whatever it was, they just tore us apart. And you know what? We as a team, we didn't have the answer for that. So in my eyes, it was one game too many. Maybe we were carried away by winning 2 titles, and you know, it kind of affected us mentally a little bit.
Absolutely. So this next question is quite a specific one. What advice would you give to a young goalie trying to be the number 1 on their team?
Depends how young. Obviously, when you start in the net, it's just me talking as a obviously father and coach. My son's goalie, so I can relate to that. When they're young, you just need to let them play, let them have fun, you know, let them figure out. They're always gonna get score against, they're gonna make saves, and you just let them have fun up until they reach certain age. You know, they reach certain age, and then you have to realize, or you have to sit down with your kid and ask him what he wants to, why he wants to play, where he wants to play, how much he's gonna commit, and go from there. But so once they get into that stage, you definitely need to be more positive with these guys. They obviously think differently. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a specific goalie coach. I know a lot of stuff about goaltending, but I'm not specifically goaltending coach. I know how to look at them when I shoot against them. I know when they make mistakes and that kind of stuff. But mostly it's a mental game. So maybe be more positive in terms of not to bring up the mistakes they make, because they only make one mistake and it ends up in the back of the net, apart, unlike forwards or D. But at the same time, you shouldn't be giving him too much encouragement if they play. I'm not a big believer of participation. You get, may I say it on the video, you get absolutely lit up and you come home and say, well done boy, great job. As long as that's wrong as well. You're never gonna make it to the top level because you don't understand how competitive that is up there. So, but positive, let him play. And always never forget about fundamentals, no matter how old you are. Always them fundamentals over and over and get the miles in them. That's briefly.
We could probably expand on that quite a lot based on your knowledge of off-ice and stuff, but we'll have to cut that one a little bit shorter today. But hopefully that answers that question. Another question that came from one of the fans: in order for the club to grow financially, we need to attract more sponsors. Traditionally in Slough, it's been almost impossible to do this. What do you think can be done to improve that situation?
Again, I've done it once in other club. It's not my cup of tea, really. It's not my position. I'm a coach. Yeah. I can coach. Of course, it helps. Everything helps. But I think we're running a healthy program here. Within the junior club, the senior club is growing. Okay, it's not in the stage where we're spending money on players, unfortunately, but we may someday, and it may attract sponsors. For these kind of things, there's a lot of teams who's got marketing managers. They got a lot of people working for them, and obviously you have to pay these people, and because it takes a lot of time, to do it as a volunteer. So, would it help? Yes. But is it something we would kill for to have? No. It would be a great bonus to have. We may just grow it naturally, to attract people, fans, and players who actually want to play here rather than looking for, 1 year's stint because you're champion.
Perfect. Okay, this one kind of follows on to that one then. So, do Slough have aspirations to join the Elite League one day?
One day, maybe, but they will have to rebuild this arena. They call it arena, but it's not. It holds, I think, 1,000 people or maximum 1,200. You will have no chance. Plus, I do watch Elite League. Obviously Elite League games, and it could be exciting, but my job is different reason. I like to develop British players. You got no chance to develop British players in Elite League, especially now with the change of import rules, with British nationalities becoming, all the dual citizens becoming now British trained players. So we don't have these aspirations anytime soon anyway.
I thought that might be the answer. So again, following on from your answer and talking about imports there, so do you think imports are good for UK hockey, or do they stop UK players from getting spots on a team?
To some extent, depending who's the coach, how much ice time and how much your energy willing to spend with British players. I think EPL model was probably one of the best ones. You had 4, I think last year was 5, but 4 import players is just about right, because at the end of the day, these young kids, they need to have someone to learn from, and I'm not just saying that because I'm import myself, but it is, I had the same visions as a kid, I wanted to play with better players, so it helps to some extent. As long as you're willing to give these kids a chance to play, because at the end of the day, these kids are the future. They're the ones who's going to be carrying the teams. There's especially national levels. Take Elite League away from this. 80%, 90% of these players are British players, so we need to spend. We have to pay more attention to these guys.
Excellent. Smits, what is your greatest moment since you've been playing hockey in the UK?
In the UK,
quite a few to choose from.
Yeah, well, definitely last year. Just because where we were, what team we signed, just the way it went, just the way it felt. It wasn't expected. We were underdogs, all these kind of factors. It was great. It was also great to play with both of my sons. It was a great feeling, to be fair. I never thought I would be able to, but I was grinding this long that it happened. But any win is really put it this way, not win so much, but any good performance in terms that you actually know you've learned something, you've moved on, in a way. Sometimes you play excellent game and you lose. You need to identify that, and these moments I think are the ones I always kind of remember. You win the game and you don't even remember you won it because anything could happen there and you didn't play your best, so you shouldn't really to build on that. So not so much winning, but in these terms. But when you win championships, especially with someone who had no business to win the championship, I think it always gets stuck in your head. So definitely last year.
Just touch on that. At what point last season did you think, okay, we might have a shot at this?
I'm quite, I wouldn't say negative, but I'm a very realistic player.
Cautious.
When I play, I'm quite realistic. So obviously you take in there with you when you're doing some kind of coaching. You're realistic, you look at odds. And when we beat the Solent, I've seen glimpses. I said, this team has something special, not just because we won, but how we won. It was good. It was a strong team. It was 2 good games, but we just played really good. Now the question was, can we maintain the same form? Can we build on this? And we did, and we were going. Then I thought another breaking point was when I got suspended. And again, I don't want to sound that I'm best player in the world, but I was a big part of that team, and missed I think it was 8 games. I think it was a little too steep, to be fair, but the team performed really well, at that point. And at that point, I thought we can pull it off. We can pull it off from then on.
Yeah, that was a massive weekend, Solent home and away. Okay, so who is the best UK player you've ever played with?
There's few. When I got here my first year, I was on the line. Actually, we had a young centreman, Mark Richardson. Right now he's playing in Cardiff. I think he's an outstanding player. He plays GB, a great player in Cardiff. But at the time he was centre, and he was, for a 17-year-old kid, he was really good. He played with 2 strong imports. He would feed us the puck. He would do all the things we asked him to do. So he would be one of those. But at the time when I played with him, obviously he wasn't best player, but he became best later on. Then in my Guildford days, there obviously Paul Dixon. He was always legend. Such a smart defenseman. David Longstaff. Even though when he came a little bit towards the end of his career, you could see the way he saw the ice, the way he acted. So it was joy to play with those guys as well. Yeah.
Good stuff. So moving on towards the league structure. What do you think about the new league structure? Isn't this just a new national league? Oh, sorry. Isn't the new national league just the EPL with a different name?
Yeah, it is. It is. but again, you know, I think it's not a bad thing. You know, you need a competition, and it's great to see that teams can afford to actually do this. You know, it's great to have a competition. You know, to play. Don't know what the structure is going to be, 42 games, or you know, with cups you're looking at 50, 60 game a season, competitive games. It's great. It's great for everybody. It's just hoping that it's going to be sustainable, that all the teams gonna be performing year on year, rather than one season, 2 seasons, and restructure again. But I'm very positive about what they've done this year.
Good. So, going back to line mates, who is your favourite line mate that you've played with over the years? So, in the States, growing up in the Czech, and you know, a whole of your career.
Well, that's obvious. You know, that's one guy who was. We were together since we were, I think, 12 years old. It's Martin Massa, and there are so many stories behind it. The way when we played America, I got called up to American League, he got called up to American League to other team, and then they traded him to us while we were on the road, and we ended up playing together. So it felt like we never gonna play without each other, and then we ended up here in Britain. Then he went away, he went to France, then he came back and played in Guildford with us. So it was joy to play with him. You know, the understanding, it was phenomenal what I had with him, and we still talking about things like that. So he definitely Marty. Yeah.
Perfect. Another question that's sort of based around the league structure roughly. Do you think that loaning out some of our players who are on the verge of making the senior team to other NIHL 2 teams would be a good idea, or maybe even having an NIHL 2 team as well in Slough?
We thought about to have an IHL 2 team here, but it was such a short notice that we just couldn't pull it off really. You know, bear in mind we just moved in last year, so everything's still kind of new for us. So it didn't happen. Loaning players, it depending what kind of players. You know, if it players who's just finished their junior career, they just finished their under 18s, and they're not quite there yet to play NHL 1 for Jets, then I can stop them to go anywhere anyway. But the ones who's within our program, which would be only under 18s, to loan them to NIHL 2 teams depends what teams, and I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, but I'd rather have them with me because I would find a way to give them a chance. You know, if they're half decent, just to give them a smell, give them opportunity to have a few shifts here and there to start with. Loaning them out to different NIHL 2 teams. Not ideally. I think we'd be better off if we had an IHL 2 team ourselves and have it within the program. But again, that's something for the future maybe.
Perfect. What is the best way for an adult to get into hockey without spending loads of money? So someone who's never picked up a stick in their life, seen the Jets play, really fancies giving it a go. What sort of advice would you give someone who wants to go and play?
Well, there's a lot of rec teams here. I think the one here, Windsor Knights, they got stick and puck, I believe, on Mondays. I think it's a great option to go to and just have some fun. Again, you start in this, depend how old you are, you know. But I've seen guys starting in their 30s, 40s. You're not gonna become a pro. It's too late. You got no chance. But it's good fun. And if these programs exist, and some teams like Windsor, they allow you to train and have a stick and puck with those guys there, that I think would be best. You know, and regarding equipment, you always want to start with second hand. You know, get this and that from someone, borrow, see what it feels like, and then once you get a little bit better, then you can spend as much as you like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you remember? Now we'll ask you to think back a little bit. How many different teams did you play for in the USA?
In USA, there's been a few. You know, the longest obviously I played for Chiefs, for Johnstown. For the ones who knows the Slapshot, the movie, that's the rink actually where it was filmed. must have been 10 maybe. Did you do your research?
A little bit, yeah. It's about 10. And how long? Roughly, how long was that for? What sort of time span?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, but it includes obviously call-ups.
Of course, yeah.
Also, you could have a couple of things in the one season.
Absolutely. So the last question from the fans: what was hockey like for you growing up as a kid in the Czech Republic back in the day?
You know what? No difference to what it's the British kids here. And that's something we always talk about, and we talk about, Lukas, you played here, played there. I say, I started just like you did. I don't think we had any more ice at that time than kids in here. We didn't have opportunities to have a private lessons. We didn't have, at that time, we didn't have coaches who knew about edge work and fitness and nutrition as much as they do now. So to some extent, it obviously moved on. We're talking 30, 35 years ago. But for me, what I remember, I wouldn't just stop. And maybe that's the reason why I still play. I would be always outside. And mostly I use tennis ball, and we just played around and played. Always excited, and I think that's the key. Always moving around, and if you love the game, nothing stops you. You just go for it, and you always reach your potential. Obviously you need some luck during the career, which I had at some stages, and I also didn't have. That's part of life. But as long as you got right mind and you want to do it, good things happen. And me as a kid growing up, that's what I had. I always wanted to play for my senior team, and then when I played for senior team, I wanted to play for national team. I didn't play for seniors, but I made under 20, so it was great honor. And I wanted to play in America, and so we always got these goals, and it all comes from childhood. That determination, but mostly it's enjoyment. Enjoyment is the key.
Perfect. Smits, that's all our questions. Really appreciate the time tonight. Thanks for coming down.
No problem.
And we'll try and make this a regular thing throughout the season with an update of how the team's getting on and how many games we're winning, hopefully. So thanks, Smits.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Cheers.